In this lesson, you're going to learn to draw the front view of your CO2 dragster. By this time, you should have already completed your thumbnail sketch. And I'm going to show you the thumbnail sketch that I am going to use in doing this drawing. So this is the thumbnail sketch of my dragster. It's a pencil car. This is going to be the side profile, which will be our front view. And this will be the top profile, which will be the top view of the car. The thumbnail sketch is a rough sketch. It is not to proportion. It is not to scale. It is simply to give us an idea of where we're going with the design of our dragster. And you are more than welcome, as you draw, to make changes to your car. Don't feel it has to look exactly like your thumbnail sketch, or anything like it, for that matter. It's simply a guide, a starting point as to where to go. So we're going to be drawing on the graph paper that I have given you and prepared for you with a full-scale drawing of the block. If I laid the block on here, it would be exactly the size of these two views. And right now, we are only concentrating in this video on the front view. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take my ruler and I am going to measure from the back of the car, and I'm going to put a mark at the 200 millimeter mark right there. And the reason for that is the shortest the car can be is 200 millimeters. When we looked at our specifications in class, you saw that the minimum was 200 millimeters and the maximum was 305. We can't go over that because that's exactly what the car is, the block is. It is 305 millimeters. So, being we're drawing a pencil car, one of the goals of a pencil car is to be light. And in order to do that, we need to take as much material off the car as possible. So therefore, we want it to be as short as possible. So that's where we're going to start. When I draw lines, my straight lines are going to be drawn with a straight edge, with a ruler. And my curved lines are going to be done by hand with short, sketchy lines. So I'm going to start up here at the top above my CO2 cartridge, and I'm going to draw a light line with my ruler. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to draw another one. And it's probably hard for you to see because it's on the line. And I went right there. And automatically, right now, I don't like what I have here, where the top line is. So I'm going to erase that and move it down one line. And that's the reason we draw light lines, so that it's easy to erase. So now I'm going to come down here and draw that. And I'm going to start with the front of the car. Notice I'm going a little beyond that 200 millimeter mark. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I have a little bit of leeway. If I cut a little too close, if I cut on the line when I cut my car out, that way I'm not going to be short. And that way it gives me room to file and sand my car without putting the car under specifications. And then I'm going to come back here like this. And I'm going to go ahead and locate my axle. I'm going to put an X. And that shows exactly where my axle is going to go. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to start drawing this section. So what I've done so far is I've got this part of the car started. Now I'm going to work this curve right here. So I'm going to come here and I'm using, again, short sketchy lines. And I'm drawing lightly. Once I get everything where I want it, I will come back and darken it in. I like the look of that, but there's a lot of material here that I could remove to make my car lighter. So I'm going to come back. I'm actually going to sort of parallel that. And you'll notice that's a lot of material. That's going to lighten my car up by moving that line back. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll come back and darken that in later. So now I have basically this part of the car drawn. Now I'm going to work on this area for the rear axle. And I'm going to locate my rear axle right now here. You'll notice that we want them both up the same distance. We want all of our wheels, all of our axles to be on the first line up. That'll make it easier when it comes time to racing the cars. So now I'm going to come from this line down here, and I'm going to work that, and use my ruler, a straight line. Now I'm going to make that connection. And that is right here. Now I've got this to do. So I'm going to come down here, stay at least 3 millimeters away from my cartridge. If I want, I can check that. And I'm about 5, so that's good. And that looks about like what I want. So now it's just a matter of darkening my lines. When I do this, I always do my curved lines first. And then I draw my straight lines into them. That line was just a little too shaggy for me. I wanted it cleaner, so I erase the same thing here. And I've got a line there, and a line there, and one up there. There, get rid of those. And now I sketch this in. I take my time, short sketchy lines. This gives you more control over your curves. Like that. And then I can take my ruler and fill it in. And that right there I'm not real happy with, so I'm going to fix it. There we go. Then I'm going to take care of this here. Darken this in. I can draw this line in. And finally, this line back here. I didn't like that, so I'm going to fix it. Don't be afraid to use your eraser. And that gives me my front view. This is that, and it is done.